is college athletics going to be not as chaotic once the COVID year goes away? Remember, like, the spring sports in 2020 got shut down due to the pandemic, and the NCAA decided we're going to get COVID years to anybody who can get it. I mean, you can't be in a military school or Ivy League to get those COVID years, but I'll address the Ivy League school stuff later. And like they gave a COVID year for the fall of 2020 for those sports right there, as well as the winter sports on 2020 to 2021. So, and next spring is the last year of COVID years, technically, if you want to think about it that way. I mean, that's going to be a lot easier for those coaches to keep track on the number of scholarships. It would. And not this year, but the following year is the last year on COVID years for the fall sports in 2024 and 2024-2025 winter sports. Of course, if you're an Ivy League person and you were a freshman in the spring of 2021 and decided not to play that season, you could transfer out. I mean, you technically could transfer out and just be like a grad transfer and play your eligibility there. So that's really the only one left, and you have to be a freshman in 2021 or even a fall 2020 freshman for all those athletes. But is it still going to be complicated? I don't think it's going to be as complicated, but it's still complicated because of the transfer portal. And of course, the coaching changes could occur, so players could still leave, as we all know. NIL is another issue as well. So, in a sense, it's still complicated, but it won't be as complicated. And I'm sure it's going to be a lot easier for the fans to know this person's done after X amount of time. Of course, that's pending transfer portal first of all, and second, like for the men's basketball stuff, and you could be a one and done in college if you go to college and be a one and done if you want to. But WNBA, I mean, for like women's basketball, you have to turn pro once you turn 21. So, and we know, like I know for tennis, for example, you can turn pro anytime you want. I mean, it's the truth. For both men and women, by the way, not just for one or the other. Softball, it's more like a 4-year deal. Unless, yeah, I don't think they could leave early necessarily. I don't think so. Baseball, 3 years of college at least. Even if like you're redshirted, then they didn't play 2 years, or get drafted out of high school. I mean, obviously, if you're like a senior, you're done. I mean, no matter what. And of course, you could still redshirt players too. Let's keep that in mind. I mean, if you can't play the full season due to injury, you get a red shirt. And in football, 4 games and you get a red shirt. But that's totally different than a COVID year. I mean, totally different. And same thing goes for the Ivy League situation for those athletes still. So that's just some thoughts on this, and I thought it would be interesting. And I know we are tired of trying to keep track of all these athletes here. And I know track and field as well, you could turn pro anytime you want. I mean, it's the truth. Even during the season. So that's just naming some examples right there. And I know volleyball as well. It's more like a 4-year deal. I mean, unless you finish your career early because of graduation, like in 3 years instead of 4 years. But that's rare. Except that's I wouldn't say that's rare, but you know what I'm saying. In soccer, I think you have to be in 4 years for that, but I'm not positive just to be a pro. I mean, or even like you could technically turn. I've seen like athletes in the past, like a few of them, turn pro even though they haven't played at their school, and then come back to school. I don't know. That's just a complicated situation. I'm just naming some examples right there, and you know, like the injury deal. Like at a certain point on soccer and basketball, you could get a red shirt. I mean, or straight up not play due to injury. You know, we all know that's a red shirt. If you're a scholarship athlete, of course. And if you're like in the Ivy League, nope, you can't get that exception because it's academic. So thus, they could grad transfer somewhere else still, like Makai Mason did. So he went from Yale to Baylor, just for example. Anyways, if you like this content, hit the like and subscribe button. See you guys later. 5 subscribers. We're on the road to it. Let's go. And let's make it a great Monday, y'all. And I know college athletics is still going to be complicated once this COVID year goes away, but it won't be as complicated. So that's the full answer. It's still going to be complicated, but it's not as complicated as it used to be. Because those COVID years can really mess with your mind on like how many years of eligibility do they have left. So that's just some thoughts on this.